I don't know if you've seen the people Hypin on Genshin Impact. And then there might be a bunch of people that are like, well, what's that? What's a Genshin Impact? And why does it even matter? So like 10 million people pre-registered for the game, and the pre-registration went up like 2 days before the game launched to give like an idea of how hard it got hit. So the game, a lot of people might think like, oh, it's an MMORPG, but it's actually like a multiplayer online game. But depending like on how flexible your terms for like MMORPG are, that could like fulfill that. Because if you're playing an MMORPG, most of the time you're around like, you know, mostly having meaningful interactions with like what, like 4 people at a time or something, maybe a couple more, give or take. So in that sense, I mean, you can join other people's worlds, you can see on a list, you can play with like a party of people, and then swap out, but it's not like you're gonna see a whole town of people running around at the same time. So the game does some things in a pretty refreshing way. So you don't really, or you won't end up in a situation where you're repetitively kind of grinding out something like you do on most online games, where you would like find something that's really effective and do it until you can do the next most effective thing to kind of, I don't know, get what you're going for, whether it be a level or an item you're going for a drop. Instead, there's just like a bunch of different things, and it's really good having a balance between like handling all the things that you see and not focusing too much on one thing and not missing stuff. Just like throw out a few examples of some stuff that you would see in the field that you have to like kind of go after and always be on the lookout for. They have these spirits that if you interact with them by like touching them, they will like start leading you somewhere, and they'll like rest onto a little shrine, and then a chest will like usually spawn. There's like torch puzzles. Sometimes you'll find torches around, and if you light all of them up with any character that has a fire element, easiest with like an archer, then it could reveal a treasure or something, or open something. There's racing objectives, whether it's like on foot or flying. The flying's not like OP'd either. It's like super good balance and implemented really well. Then the best part though, for sure, is that when you start kind of getting this pushback on the difficulty, and this is probably easiest experience trying to just climb the spiral, which is like floors that keep going up and keep getting harder and harder. And when you start getting that pushback, you're like instinctually, like if you've played online games, you're like, okay, I gotta level up my stuff, gotta get better stats, it's gonna get it done for me. And then you come back and see how little it did for you, and it's like you hit this point, you realize you need to like go about it completely different. It's all about how you're chaining your elements, because not only does it have a great like base for its kind of action combat, but also the element system adds so much depth to it. If you get like wet or something, it tells you it's like you have the status effect of being wet, and it can be combined with something like lightning to do multipliers of damage. So you can have this like really awesome setup with your party where you could have something like having a character who has like a water elemental skill and hitting a mob with that, and then swapping to another character who has like lightning elemental skill, hitting them with that creates like a chain reaction. Immediately you could swap to another character who has like a fire elemental skill, hit them with that chain reaction again. Thunder and fire is really great. Also, taking the time to go through the skills and like read out all the individual specific effects is like holds such a huge weight in this game, because it seems so focused around looking at these effects and seeing like exactly how you can push it to its most, like almost like an exploit, but it was intended, which is always great. For example, Barbara, she can like basically heal other characters, but her heal is based on her max HP. So you could then, after knowing that, go in and just every piece of gear she has, all devoted to max HP. So then, like, her healing would just be nuts. I have Barbara, and I have a weapon on her that whenever you switch out to another character, that it will boost their attack by 20% for 10 seconds, and this effect can only happen once every 20 seconds. But since I have a main attacker that I use a lot, especially for basic attacks, it works really good for me, since a lot of what I'm doing is just moving all these effects from other characters over to my main attacker. For example, this character, their E has like a little ice sphere that will hang out with you and hit mobs for ice damage when you're attacking. So I have this other character, this one, and their ultimate makes it so every attack that you swing, your basic attacks, will shoot like swords of water, and it does carry over to other characters. So I'll just carry this over to my main attacker while the ice ball is also active, so then just every attack is superconducting off itself with water and ice. There's a ton of really interesting combinations between the skills and their effects with the different gears and like the effects they give off, and having it within a team of 4 that you put together makes it so you have like a lot of flexibility for having really fun builds you can try out. So like in more detail, the way the multiplayer works, pretty much anybody can like join your world if you have your things set to allow something like that. They can just see you on the list, or you're on your friends list or something, and then they can come in and they could have marked within their own world on their map where certain items they are that they want, and they could just go there in your world and get them. But this isn't gonna like negatively impact you, because even if they go and take those items or harvest those items, then they still exist for you. They just got their own copy of it, basically. Also, it's really useful for kind of learning, exploring techniques. At this point, when you get to rank 16, when you unlock multiplayer, you've gotten very used to kind of being comfortable with like how you explore and being efficient. And then so getting to join other people and see how they do it a lot of times kind of really it makes it fun. You can kind of incorporate certain ideas and stuff, and it helps you kind of with your own exploration and efficiency. And also, I mean, with another person in your party, you can clear the trials easier, the like open world trials. This game has like tons of secrets too. I mean, from the second you start, it's like, oh, here you're on a coast, there's nothing secret here, right? Wrong, because right there in the water, there's a rock. By that rock, there's a treasure chest. Crazy. And then, like, I found like 3 stacks of rocks and knocked them over before. Boom, treasure chest. I stood in the middle of nowhere and saw an interaction. I said, press F, and I pressed it, and then poof, treasure chest. Crazy. There's a lot of hidden like entrances and stuff, but you have to use puzzles to like enter certain dungeons or areas, which is really cool. Fake ass Zelda walls. It's not time to talk about Nintendo yet. That was pretty cool. Really refreshing game. So yeah, you should go play it. Right now. Go give it a try. Well, either way, I hope you guys have a whole bunch of fun with the game, and I'm gonna go now.